public who have joined us for our meeting this morning, which is the REC meeting of the Energy Regulator, which is held today, the 7th of April, via Microsoft Teams platform. On that note, before we proceed with our meeting, I would like to start by introducing the members of the REC. And I will start with myself. My name is Nomalanga Stole. I'm the CEO at NESA and chairperson of the REC. And in terms of introducing other members of the REC, I have Ms. Nomfundo Maseti, who is the FTRM, primarily responsible for the regulation of pipe gas, and he is chairing that. He's chairing the PGS subcommittee. And she is also the acting chairperson and acting member, acting FTRM for the electricity regulation industry. And she sits on a number of committees and other subcommittees of the energy regulator. Ms. Maseti, would you want to convey your greetings to the attendees?
Thank you, Chairperson, and good morning to you. Good morning to the stakeholders and the members of the public that are following today's proceedings. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll then proceed to our FTRM, Muzi Vukile Mkize, who is the member of this particular committee, chairperson of the Petroleum Pipelines Committee, and he sits on other subcommittees and committees of the energy regulator. Over to you, Mr. Mkize, to convey your greetings.
Thanks, Chairperson. Good morning to all in attendance, as well as the members of the public following us through the various live streaming platforms. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mkize. On that note, I would like to indicate that the agenda for this particular meeting was duly advertised, and we do have 2 items that are set for the open session of our meeting. And on that note, I would like to request the members of the committee to indicate that they do adopt the agenda as presented. And to do this, I would like to request them to indicate by show of hand that they do adopt the agenda with those 2 items. Thank you, Mr. Mkize. Thank you, Ms. Maseti. I also support. We then move on to a declaration of interest. Are there any interests that members would like to declare verbally? And from members of management, any verbal declaration of interest? If not, may I kindly request that we all complete the forms that have been provided by the Secretary for the Committee on Declaration of Interest and ensure that we submit them to her. On that note, I will then proceed on the set agenda for the open session, which are items relating to the electricity regulation industry. Item 5, I don't know, maybe let me just go straight to the presenter, Ntaten Takeni, if you can take us through item 5 on the agenda. Thank you.
Good morning, Chairperson. It's Thabo Shabalala. I'll be taking you through item 5.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Over to you, Baba Shabalala.
Thank you, Chairperson. Good morning, members and fellow colleagues. As I've indicated, I'll be taking you through the eThekwini RFR submission, wherein we are requesting that the REC note the RFR submissions. So eThekwini submitted the RFRs on the 1st of February. Can I please just make a correction, Chairperson? In the submission, we said February 2024.
Sorry,
Tate Sichotlo, we have started with the presentation of the item. Is there anything material that you want to highlight? Maybe Tate Shabalala, just hold on. Let's just hear Tate Sichotlo. Tate Sichotlo? I think on that note, may I request that you hold on, then Tate Sichotlo, let's proceed. Babu Shabalala, you can proceed with the presentation of the item. Over to you.
Thank you, Chairperson. As I was indicating, I would like to make a small correction wherein in the submission, we actually indicated that the RFRs were submitted on the 1st of February 2024. They were actually submitted on the 1st of February 2025, just that correction, Chairperson. And then this submission actually complies with the Municipal Standard Chart of Account requirements. So in the submission itself, as highlighted in the financial analysis section, eThekwini's performance has actually deteriorated, and this is mainly due to revenues that have not been able to, that have been cited by the Metro as they call it disasters, which is mainly floods and riots. On the same note, the liquidity has also weakened actually drastically on this one. There's a concern, we have a concern that there could be a cash flow issues that could arise if the situation worsens and potentially impact on service delivery and their supplier payments, etc. So in terms of when it comes to the debt equity ratio, this is actually one of the ratios that are actually acceptable. We are saying that this one has stayed within the acceptable standard of 1. But generally, a low debt to equity ratio indicates that they have a lower financial risk, as the signal has a low amount of debt relative to its equity. But on the same breath, again, although the debt levels are considered to be stable, the Metro's ability to service its debt has significantly declined, and this is owing again to the declining performance as highlighted earlier. With that said, being said, Chairperson, I would like to direct the members to the recommendations on page 19, whereby we are requesting the members to note the submission of the RFRs by eThekwini, evaluation of the RFRs by NERSA, and then lastly, we are requesting the letter that will be sent to eThekwini, advising them of the energy regulators analysis and findings around future person.
Thank you, Dr. Chabalala. Members, any questions, issues of clarity on this particular submission? I don't see any hand from the members, but from my side, and Dr. Chabalala, I do not understand the fact that we are saying the debt level is stable. However, on page 18, there's an indication that the Metro is in financial trouble. And on page 19, it is said that the Metro's ability to service its debt has collapsed. And I'm assuming one of those debt that they need to service is in relation to the servicing of the bulk account. You'll correct me if I'm wrong. And I just wanted to find out the impact of this in terms of our regulatory activities in relation to tariff consideration processes and the license condition. If you can just come in on that so that we get a better understanding, because I believe there are some steps that we need to take other than just writing a letter. Maybe writing the letter as recommended in point C on page 20, it's one of those things, but the content of the letter is really, really critical as to how it gets structured. I see there is a hand now from Mr. Mkize. Mr. Mkize, may I come in?
Thanks, Chairperson. I understand. I would also like to thank Tabo for the presentation. I'm just concerned around the follow-up action when we find that this kind of a situation that is all pointers talk to a dire situation. I was also listening to the Honorable Minister of COGTA this morning concerning the disaster. And we all know Durban has been hit and the surroundings hit by these disasters. And the problem seems to be the ring fencing of funds that seek to relieve, to deal with relief from such disasters and emergencies. I would therefore request that the team considers some kind of participation around those issues to ensure that where there are problems that talk to disasters related to the energy sector, then they can be able to play a role in terms of ensuring that there is that ring fencing, and to be clear as to what amounts are required to be able to address the aftermath of disasters within, of course, the ambit of the law. This is just my concern, because really we should be exploring deeper as to what then should happen in these cases, and not to wait until there is a tariff application being presented before us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. And Tate Shabalala, over to you. You can start. Any other team member that wants to support you, they can come after you. Over to you, Baba.
Thank you, Chairperson. I think maybe I will start with Mr. Mkhize, whereby the team will actually ensure that we are actually quite close to the situation as directed. Thank you on that one. And then maybe to respond to you, Chairperson, in terms of, I know it might be, some of these terms are quite interrelated. So when we're referring to the debt equity ratio that is stable, we are just referring to the debt levels. But because the performance is deteriorating, if you look at the interest coverage ratio itself, in fact, let me just find the page number, Chairperson. In the past 5 years, it's on page 4, Chairperson, on table 1, you will see that the interest coverage ratio has moved in 2019-20 from a coverage of 4.5 times to a coverage of negative 11.6. That's what we are referring to in terms of the ability to then service the debt itself. The levels themselves are considered stable, but the ability to then service the issue around interest, that's the concern that we have. And then lastly, Chairperson, the other issue that you raised, I think that one I will need to be guided in terms of process-wise, in terms of the powers that NERSA has in situations whereby, as identified, that eThekwini's financial performance, or when its performance is in a dire situation, what more can the energy regulator then do besides just sending that letter? And I also note again in terms of how we then craft that letter itself, but I would I need to be guided then in terms of not just eThekwini, but generally what sort of activities can the regulator then undertake more than just the noting. Thank you, Chairperson.
Okay, thank you. I see Ms. Masiti's hand is up. You may come in, ma'am.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, I'm just not sure about the point that Mr. Chabalala is responding to, because yes, our jurisdiction is limited to the operation of the distribution facility by eThekwini. So that's our license, our rights in terms of the license that is issued. So when it comes to the issue of ring fencing, that's what the team already does, and it has been doing it even before, because in the template and in the deforms, we do check whether there is a possibility of the municipality doing some cross subsidization. And that information gets analyzed, and we even had some benchmarking that we used to do so that we can get an indication of whether there is any possible cross subsidization. So I think that information is an information that is already in the deforms. To the extent that the members or the committee would like to get an indication of cross subsidization, or that the electricity income or revenue gets ring fenced, that information can easily be extracted, and then the committee can get an indication of that information from the electricity supply, that the revenue is ring-fenced and there is a little chance of cross-subsidization. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that input, Ms. Maseti. Mr. Mkiza, you may come in. Is your hand up or is it a lingering hand? If not...
No, ma'am. I think just on this one, I think, as I said, that whatever we do it within the ambit of the law, what we're empowered to do. And ring fencing has been a problem all the time. And with the focus on municipalities, from what we've heard from the various speeches, even by the president. Even last week there was a ministerial summit on the water side of things, also highlighting the need for municipalities to come on board. We also know that anyway next year is also in local elections year, and I think it's important just for us to follow up on that, do all that we ought to do. That is, in essence, what I'm trying to emphasize. And then in presenting the information, I think it's very important also to when we are presented with these ratios, to see what is the norm or standard that we should be considering, and not just compare the performance of the municipality with its previous performances. You can have a situation where you also bring into question how it rates in comparison with other metros and things like that, so that there is some kind of a standard or benchmark that they would be striving towards, or what we see as a good performance. If they can just add that element in future submissions, I think that would help. But I would accept what is presented before us in this meeting. Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much. And Dr. Chabalala, I trust that you have noted the issues that members are providing as guidance, and maybe when we have to deal with this matter once more, we ensure that those issues are really addressed, especially in relation to those areas that fall within the regulatory powers of the energy regulator. And I think that is clarified in terms of the guidance that you and your team members needs to follow. We'll then go on to the recommendations that you have already read into the record. Ms. Maseti's hand is up. Ms. Maseti, you want to come in before we proceed to recommendations?
Yes, Chairperson, it is just to assist going forward, maybe also with other municipalities, so that the members can also be comfortable going forward. That one of the things that we should start doing, especially for the RRMs for municipalities, is also for the teams to have the continuous interactions with the officials from the National Treasury, so that even the observations on the issue of the electricity supply and the revenue that relates to that, things that are concerned with, that can also be checked and sort of discussed with the National Treasury, just to check if we get the same kind of information, and also what steps are being taken on the other side. As you know, that we are trying to align in terms of the M-score on these projects. So it will be really important then on the RRMs going forward, just to understand, so that we align. And then secondly, maybe an indication. I know that it's not the template for RRMs, but it will be important to just touch on the issue of the possibility of cross-subsidization, and ensuring that there is some ring fencing for the electricity supply revenue. Those are the two things, Chairperson, as you wrap up for purposes of taking a decision that maybe we can look into going forward. Thank you.
For that assistance, Ms. Maseti. Mtate Chabalala, I think you have noted that input from Madam Maseti to say, I think starting with Mr. Mkize, that it's important that we ensure that whatever we do or we do, it's within our regulatory mandate, that is, he said, the ambit of the law, and also to ensure that the information needs to really indicate the norm rather than the way we have made the presentation in the analysis of NESA, and also to just ensure that there is alignment between the RRM's information that we get together with M-score, and also the ring fencing of the cross subsidy. So there is other points that were raised by members, but they are merely to enhance the presentation. On that note, members, may I take you to the recommendations that are on page 19, paragraph 15, and the recommendations are that the REC should note the RFRs, I beg your pardon, of eThekwini Metro, and the NESA evaluation of eThekwini Metro's RFRs, and as well as that a letter will be sent to the Metro advising them of the energy regulators analysis and findings arising from the RFRs that they have submitted on the 1st of February 2025. By show of hand, members, can I get an indication that you support the noting together with that guidance provided to the team? Thank you, Ms. Maseti. Thank you, Mr. Mkize. I also support the noting. We then move on to the next item, which is item 6. And I thought that Mr. Sichoto was still on leave, but Mr. Sichoto can assist us as to who's going to guide us. I noted that it was going to Mr. Mtakeni. That is Sichoto. In his absence,
I am here. Sorry, Chair. I am here. Sorry, Chair. I am here, but Mr. Zwangaradu is the one that is going to take us through, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Over to you, Zwanga.
Thank you, Chairperson, and good morning to members, management, and everyone in the meeting. I will present with an assumption that the submission have been read. Chairperson, this is a Ekurhuleni RFRs. It has been submitted on the 7th of March, 2025. Chairperson, in summary, Ekurhuleni is not doing that well, especially with profitability, mainly driven by the lower collection of revenue, as well as the interest on finance, or rather the finance costs. This can be witnessed by deteriorating return on assets, as well as return on equity, or rather, if not all, financial profitability ratios. Chairperson, as we go further, even on the liquidity ratios, Ekurhuleni is not doing that well. They are not meeting the practice levels. Most of them, like for example, the current ratio, which is supposed to be 2:1, we're finding it to be 0.8:1. So this reflects that Ekurhuleni is not servicing its debt properly, and the interest, if you can check the cash interest cover as well, it is way low, which indicates that Ekurhuleni is not, or rather, it have a negative amount to service its cash interest cover. So, Chairperson, in conclusion, Ekurhuleni is not doing that well, and we shall follow the advice or the guidance by the members that have been mentioned now, to say we really need to have an interaction with the with the licensees to ensure efficient operation and on the licensees electricity division. So the chairperson, I would like to take you to page 17 of 17 where the recommendations are. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ralufi. Members, any questions, issues of clarity? And I trust that the team has also noted the comments made in the previous submission. Anything, members? I don't see any hand. On that note, may I take you to page 17, paragraph 16? Ms. Masetti, your hand is up. You may come in, ma'am.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, this is just to, emphasize on the point raised earlier when it was said that maybe a comparison with other metros might be useful. Now, this is another metro. We're lucky that we're presenting two reports from two metros. And you can see that this issue of debt collection is also experienced here. And I am sure that the information can be pulled out also for the other metros so that we can see that we are facing a similar problem. The question is why, and maybe it could even be the issues of affordability or other challenges faced by the municipalities. But I just wanted to sort of show you the sort of a similar challenge that we have observed with the previous submission. And I don't think for purposes of competitive benchmarking, it will be useful. I think it is useful only to the extent of showing how these metros themselves are struggling sort of financially or servicing their debt or even collecting debt. So I think from that perspective, it gives us a sense, but not from a perspective of making a competitive benchmarking. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Masetti. Mr. Mkiza?
Thanks, Chairperson, and thanks to the presenter for this part. I just want to say that this my earlier comments apply here. The one for eThekwini also apply for Guruleni. I would also say that maybe in conjunction with RAR or others, we should also be looking at these issues, but kind of also be forward-looking in terms of the developments as to what they imply, particularly also from a point of view of affordability and the debt collection, so that we're not getting hit by, things that appear to be urgent or changes that have just come up, because we are able to do the analysis going forward. I think I know that we're still battling a lot of issues at this juncture, but I think we need to also to aspire to be forward-looking in discussing, because these are in the past. Yes, you can take corrective action, but also I think we should weigh in terms of how we see the future unfolding. You've seen recent development, even regarding the budget, etc., etc. I would leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you, members. I think EPT team, you have noted the members' input in terms of highlighting the need to really have a correct comparison with other metros, which is important, and also particularly on the issue of debt collection that is coming up, because we have noted that these big metros are having a challenge in terms of debt collection. So if we can look into that particular issue, and as well as the input made, that we need to be forward-looking with the changes that are happening. On that note, I hope the team has noted the additional points for enhancements in terms of these reports. But I would then request that we proceed to the recommendations that are on page 17, paragraph 16, which is for the REC to note the NESA's evaluation of Ekurhuleni Metro's RFRs, and that a letter will be sent to the Metro advising them of the energy regulators analysis and finding that coming out of the RFRs. On that note, members, can I get an indication that you support the noting of this particular item with those points of enhancements that have been given to the team? Thank you, Ms. Masetti. I also support the noting. Mr. Mkhize. Okay. On that note, thanks, Mr. Mkhize. Members and members of management, support staff, we have come to the end of the items that were set for the open session of our meeting. And I would like to thank everyone for their attendance and contribution, and as well as the members of the public that have joined us in this particular meeting. We have come to the end. I'll request that the open session be closed so that we can proceed with items that have been said